Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers of the International Conference on Economic, Business, Tourism and Social Sciences 2022 for their success in organizing this conference and providing a venue for me and other researchers to present our research work. So my name is Haikal Anuar Adnan, and today I will present the finding of my research alongside with Associate Professor Dr. Zarinah Arshat and Nurul Saidatus Shaja'ah Ahmad Shahril. And we are from Department of Human Development and Family Studies, Faculty of Human Ecology, University Putra Malaysia. So the title of my presentation today is Malaysian Low Income Drug Addict Wife, Family Impact, Coping and Mental Wellbeing. Alright, so this is my research abstract, and based on the stress strain coping support model, the objective of the study is to determine the relationship between the stress, which refers to the family impact, experienced by the wife of drug addicts in terms of economic difficulties and marital conflict, coping and mental well-being. The second objective is to determine the role of coping as a mediating factor between family impact and mental well-being. So, using purposive sampling method, the study involved 132 wives of low-income drug addicts in Malaysia, and the instrument that we use in this study is economic stress scale, Baker-Kelly marital conflict scale, um, and coping and adaptation processing scale for measure coping, and the short Warwick Edinburgh mental well-being scale we use to measure the mental well-being. So for data analysis, we use Smart PLS software, and our results show that family impact was associated indirectly with mental well-being through coping. Alright, so for my presentation contents, first I will go for the introduction, followed by background of the study, methodology, fourth analysis and finding, discussion, and the last is for conclusion. Okay, for introduction and background of the study, actually drug addiction is a global issue that affects every country, including Malaysia. And drug abuse has a harmful impact not only to the addicted person, but also on their family members, especially on their wife or mothers. Among the issues that are faced by wife of drug addict, like mental health, social network, issue of violence, issue of marital conflict, or an issue of economic strain. However, although the wife of drug addicts face a variety of difficulties in their life, not all wives wish their marriage to end in a dissolution. Orford et al. 2010 proposed the stress strain coping support model that focused on the stress and strain that experienced by the wife of a drug addict. So the main idea behind this model is that people who are stressed because family members have addiction problem, they can respond to that stress and reduce the amount strain that they experience. Even though, even though the SSS model is often used by past researchers to look at the relationship between this variable, some of the model limitation have been found. To begin with, this model is ineffective at examining how stress affects strain because it used data from Europe countries like Mexico, England, and Italy. Uh, However, it excludes data from Asian and Muslim countries. Second, the SSS model focus on interpersonal copying and an examination of intrapersonal copying. Alright, so the third limitation is the role of copying as a moderating or mediating factor in the relationship between stress and strain remain unclear, and it require the additional research. like suggested by Petra. So the study we conduct to fill the gap from the past researchers. Based on the literature review and gap that we find from the previous study, so the research objective of the study is first to identify the association between the family impact in terms of economic strain and military conflict, uh, coping, and their relationship to the mental well-being. And the second objective is to identify the role of coping as a mediator factor between family impact and mental well-being relationship. So this figure show that the our research conceptual framework is the stress we refer to the family impact and the strain we refer to the mental well-being. Right, so to fulfill the research objective of the study, we use a quantitative approach as a research design, and we employ a cross-sectional design and a questionnaire-based survey method. And this study also a correlational study. So for the participants, we use a purposive sampling method, which is the sample involved in the study is 132, and the sample size determination we use the power software. So for the inclusive criteria, the respondent household income is less than 4,360 ringgit per month, Malay, at least one child, age 17 years old and under, and husband receiving treatment at the Narcotic Addiction Rehabilitation Center. The instrument that we use for this study for measure family impact, we use economic strain scale and Breaker Kelly marital conflict scale. For coping, we use coping and adaptation processing scale short form. And for mental well-being, we use short Warwick and Edinburgh mental well-being scale. Alright, so permission was granted for to use a questionnaire created by the original author, and all measurement tools have been translated into Malay since the our respondent is a Malay, and using back-to-back translation, we translate it by professional translator from the Center for the Advancement of Language Competency, University Putra Malaysia, and content validity was checked by two experts in developmental psychology and human development, and the reliability for the instrument was checked through the pilot study and the actual study. Alright, so we go to the data collection procedure. Prior to the study, permission was granted from Malaysian National Anti-Drug Agency, and at the same time, ethic approval was got from the UPM Ethic Committee. And after that, we got the wife information from drug addicts at the Narcotic Addiction Rehabilitation Center. And after got the information of the wife, so we contact the respondent and we distribute the questionnaire through WhatsApp in form of Google Form. And after that, we collect the questionnaire for the data analysis. Right. So for the analysis and finding parts, for the model estimation, a variance-based structural equation modeling (SEM) was used in this study through the SMART PLS program. So the higher order construct using this joint to stage approach was analyzed. And I think before we go to the model estimation, we go first to the respondent profile in the study. So table 1 show that the demographic variable and what can we see from the age. The majority of the respondent fell under the uh, age group of 31 to 40 years old, which is 44.7%. And in terms of education level, um, the majority of the respondent, which is 48.5%, complete their upper secondary school. And in terms of duration of marriage, the majority of the respondents fell under the duration group of 6 to 10 years duration of marriage, and the number of children, the majority of respondents have 3 children. Okay, since the study used a disjoint two-stage approach, the steps that were proposed by Substat et al. 2019 were implemented. And the first step is to see if the lower order component fulfill the criteria that have been outlined, such as internal consistency, convergent validity, and discriminant validity. Then, the latent variable stores of the lower order component will be incorporated into the model in the second stage. And after that, the higher order component that met the requirement were determined. So we look for the measurement model for lower order component. So the table 2 show the outcome of the measurement model evaluation. So what we can see, the numerous items discovered in the coping construct, which is the item 1, 5, 8, 9, 12, 13, and 14 were discarded due to their extremely low loading values as suggested by Hare. So the accepted value suggested by Hare et al. 2021 is the loading value exceeding 0.708 CR composite reliability values exceeding 0.7 and the AVE values over 0.5. Okay, so for the discriminability in this study was analyzed using HTMT technique, and as shown in table 3, all discriminant value exceeded the HTMT threshold value 0.90, and as a result, the discriminability was proven. Right, so after the measurement model for lower order components met the criteria that suggested by Hare, so next, we look for the measurement model for higher order components. So as what can we see from the table 4 and table 5, all the value for loading, composite reliability, the average variance expected value, and the discriminant validity values met the criteria that suggested by the Hare. Therefore, the structural model measurement can be carried out. Right, so for the structural model assessment, first we look for the multicollinearity issue, and as shown in table 6, there is no issue with the multicollinearity in this model because the VIF value is lower than 3.33. So for the path coefficient for structural model, as shown in table 7, family impact was found to be positively related to coping, which is the beta value is 0.247 and the p value is lower than 0.05. Coping was also found to be positively related to mental well-being, which is the beta value is 0.380. However, the results show that family impact not related to mental well-being, which is the beta value is 0.380 and p higher than 0.05. Right. For the mediation effect, the table 8 shows that the result of the study on the influence of family impact on mental well-being through coping, we show that the impact of mediating was statistically significant, which is the beta value is 0.094, p lower than 0.05. Okay, so for discussion, the finding of this study is consistent and contradict with several studies that have been done by past researchers, and the dimension found in the coping construct developed by Roy, which is the resourceful and focused, physical and fixed, alert processing, knowing and relating, must be examined to explain how coping acts as a mediator factor in the relationship between family impact and mental well-being. Alright, so for conclusion, the limitation of this study, first, we use the cross-sectional design, the sample size is small, and the social support not included in the model. But the strength of this study is We give drug users a wide and early sense of the necessity of building coping and mental well-being, and the finding can be used by professional to them do the intervention. And what can we do for the future researcher is do a longitudinal study and using the probability sampling method, and they can edit the social support in the model. So I think that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.